This is the Successful Archi Students Podcast, Episode 3. If you have to do something twice, you should create a system for it. So rather than downloading new textures every time you do a project, why don't you create a texture library so that when you do an assignment, you grab all the textures you've used from that project and you put it into this library so that the next time you do a project and you need a concrete texture, well, you've got one there. So you're an Archi student. You're smart, you're creative, and heck, you're ready to take on the world with your crazy designs. Before you get to that point, however, you need to build up the habits and the knowledge and the skills of the successful architect. And what most students don't realize is that you don't learn these things over time. Rather, you learn these things through experience and deliberate practice outside of your university education. My name's Kyle, I'm an Archi student just like you, and I'm committed to being successful, no matter what it will take. And I'm hoping you're ready to take that journey with me as you listen to the Successful Archi Student Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. Today I want to talk about managing your time better as a student. As the more time you spend on your projects, the better your projects are going to be. And in the real world, if you're working for yourself, time is money. You don't get paid by the hour. You get paid for every project you get finished. So how you use your time and how efficiently you use your time is very, very important as an architect. So tip number 1 for managing your time as a student is to know when to put your phone away. So we're living in such a digital world now that checking our phone is a regular habit that most of us have. However, it's not really a great habit to have because every time you check your phone, you're depriving yourself of being in a flow state when working on your architecture work. And what I mean by flow state is that when you're working away and the hours are passing by and you don't realize just how much work you're getting done because you're not getting distracted, but you're just working on one thing and you're deeply working on it so that you're not thinking about something else. You're not multitasking. You're just getting one thing done. However, when you check your phone, maybe every 10, 15 minutes, you're getting out of that flow state and it's driving your attention somewhere else. So rather than thinking about solving the problems that are on the paper, you're distracting yourself and procrastinating by looking at your phone and checking your messages. And you might be thinking it's something important by checking your emails, but most of the time it doesn't have to be checked. And most of the time there's nothing even to check, but we'll check it anyway, just as something to do to drive our attention away from the work we're doing. I think it's really important to not look at your phone when you're working on your architecture work, but to only check it at specific and deliberate times. So you might schedule out from 8 to 11 a.m. you'll be working on your work, and then at 11 o'clock you'll have a scheduled break for 15 minutes where you can check your phone, have something to eat, and you'll need to be disciplined about this so that you're actually staying on schedule. Because if you're checking your phone and getting distracted during those 3 hours, it's really going to affect your productivity and you're not going to get as much work done. So my tip for you is to either turn your phone off or better yet, just keep it in another room. Put it downstairs, put it in the backyard. It doesn't matter where you put it, but just don't have it next to you while working because it will really stray you away from the work you're meant to be doing. My second time management tip for you is to have a clean working space. By having a consistently clean desk, you're going to build up constructive habits for studying, and you're going to be able to concentrate so much more than when you've got stuff scattered all over your desk. You've got a bit of model making stuff here and some drafting tools over there and rulers just scattered all over your bed, and I've been there, trust me. I used to have all this crap all over my desks and everywhere, but I found myself losing my train of thought, and when I was trying to get into that flow state where I wasn't getting distracted by anything, I was looking around the room, finding all this stuff everywhere and being taken away from my work unwillingly. Not only will it save you time by having a clean desk and working space, but you'll have a clear mind and you'll be able to concentrate a lot more because of this one thing of just having a clean desk. So my third time management tips for architecture students is to organize your files online and offline. So what I mean by this is don't have all your files scattered all over your desktop on your computer, because it's really going to make you struggle to find things when you need it, and it's going to take more time. Hence why this is a time management tip rather than an organization tip. But the fact that if you've got stuff scattered all over your desktop, it's going to take a lot more time to find that. For starters, it gives you a positive feeling. So when you open your computer, you've got something clean to look at, and it's just like cleaning your desk. You'll have a positive feeling when coming into your room and you've got nothing on your desk, and it makes you want to do work. However, if you've got just stuff scattered everywhere, it's going to really affect your productivity and it's going to demotivate you, and really cause you to not want to study. So that goes for offline as well. You need to put all your files and your printouts into folders specific to your classes. And this will really help you organize yourself and your train of thought, and you won't lose concentration. And when you need something, you'll be able to find it really, really easily. So what I like to do at the start of every new semester is I'll create a new folder for each of my classes on my computer, and I'll then categorize them into the different assignments I've got. And for starters, this helps me realize what submissions I've got during the semester, but it also helps me organize all of my files into those folders, and so that I don't lose track of where I am. So the more narrow you get down and the more you organize your files into folders, the easier it's going to be to find things, and you're going to save a lot more time because you're going to be able to stay in your flow state then, and you're not going to spend time having to find files that you've somewhere put on your desktop or some ridiculous place on your computer. So my time management tip number 4 for architecture students is to create systems. And this is very similar to the previous tip that I had, which was to organize everything into folders. This is kind of the idea of, if you have to do something twice, you should create a system for it. So rather than downloading new textures every time you do a project, so if you need to find a concrete texture, rather than going online and downloading a new texture and spending 5 minutes to find one texture, why don't you create a texture library so that when you do an assignment, you grab all the textures you've used from that project and you put it into this library, so that the next time you do a project and you need a concrete texture, well, you've got one there and you can just use that one, and you save yourself that 5 minutes of search time. So this is like an initial investment of your time. You put in a little bit of work at the start and, organizing all your folders and everything, but the time it will save you in the future, it's well worth it. So architects and firms, they organize everything into folders and they create systems for all their files and their projects. And so if you can't do this, you'll be left behind. So my time management tip number 5 for architecture students is to use a diary. The smallest thing you can do is write in your class dates and when you've got your submission dates and your due dates. But I encourage you to write in your daily goals and review them in your diary. So keep looking back at the goals you've set. So you might say for tomorrow you want to get your plans done, or you want to have your model done. You actually need to keep yourself accountable for that and have some integrity, and review your day and see, did you actually do what you set out to do? And this will involve discipline again and to have some integrity. But these are great skills to have. And by doing these tasks, it's really going to help you succeed. So the way I do it is when I go to bed, I'll bring out my diary and I'll look over the stuff I said I wanted to do today. And I'll tick off the things I did and I'll put a cross through the ones I didn't do. This kind of helps me understand where I did well and what I didn't do so well. Then for the next day, I'll start to write in what time I want to wake up. So I might say wake up at 6:30, and then from then on, for every 30 to 60 minutes of my day, I'll write in the tasks that I want to achieve and the things I want to do. So for every 30 to 60 minutes, I'll say at 9 o'clock, I'm working out, 10 o'clock, I'm having breakfast, 11 o'clock, I'm starting on my model, or so forth. And you might think this might stress you out because you're planning out every single minute of your day, but it actually does the opposite. You don't have to stay dead on track with the goals you set. However, they are meant to be changed and they're meant to be revised throughout the day. But by having a written down plan, it really helps you understand what you need to have achieved and when by. And so what it really does is it clears your mind of any stress. So to recap over today's podcast, we just went through 5 time management tips for architecture students. Tip number 1 was to keep your phone away from you when you're working anyway, or to have deliberate and purposeful break times where you can check your phone, so that you're not distracting yourself while working. Tip number 2 was to have a clean working space. And number 3 was to organize your files online and offline so that you're not wasting time trying to find things you need. Number 4 was to create systems for yourself so that you're not wasting time doing stuff that you've already done before. And if you have to do something twice, then you should create a system for it. And number 5 was to use a diary and to review your daily goals and set daily goals for the next day every single night. Doing so, you'll have a clear mind and you'll understand exactly what you need to get done in that day. And it will really help you take your education to the next level. So I really hope you guys found that helpful. And I'll see you guys in the next episode of the Successful Archi Students podcast. Hey guys, I just want to take a quick moment to say thank you for listening to today's episode. The great thing about the show being a podcast is that you can listen to this wherever you go. So if you're on the bus to uni, or you're walking home from work, or you're making dinner, or you're at the gym, it doesn't matter where you are. You can listen to this podcast and get some information from other architects and architecture students like myself. So if that's something you're interested in doing, you can just head over to the show notes in the description of this video. From there, you can find the different platforms that we're on. So we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on Spotify, Deezer, Castbox, and a couple of other ones as well. Subscribe to us and follow us on there so you don't miss out. Also, if you guys want to be on the show, which is something I'm really interested in doing, just send me an email at kyle@successfularchistudent.com. So that's KYLE@successfularchistudent.com, and I'll bring you onto the show to talk about anything architecture, and we can share some ideas and learn from one another. Thanks again, guys. I really do appreciate your support and all the comments that you guys leave. And until next time, I'll see you on the next episode of the Successful Archi Student Podcast.